Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a topic that might hit close to home for some of you. We're talking about cheaters, and more specifically the things they say to cover their tracks. Have you ever noticed that people who cheat often use the same phrases? Well, it's not a coincidence. Believe it or not, many people follow a similar pattern when they're hiding something. It's like there's a playbook out there for this kind of behavior. In this video, we're going to break down the 6 things that women who cheat always seem to say. And trust me, if you've heard even one of these, you're going to want to keep watching. But before we dive into the specifics, I want you to understand something important. These phrases aren't just random. They're a way to manipulate, deflect, and even make you question your own reality. So if you've been feeling uneasy in your relationship and hearing some of these lines, it might be time to take a closer look at what's really going on. All right, let's jump right into the first phrase you'll often hear from a woman who's cheating. You're just being insecure. Sound familiar? This is a classic deflection. Instead of addressing your concerns head-on, she flips it back on you. It's an attempt to make you feel like the problem, and that's the tricky part. Let's break this down. When someone tells you you're being insecure, they're planting seeds of doubt in your mind. Suddenly, you're questioning yourself instead of the suspicious behavior you noticed. Maybe it was a late-night text or a sudden change in how often she's available, but when you bring it up, you're told you're the one overreacting. Here's the thing. Insecurity isn't always a bad thing. In relationships, a little bit of doubt can be healthy. It's your gut telling you something's off. But when someone's cheating, they'll twist that feeling around, making you second-guess your intuition. If this phrase keeps coming up every time you try to have an honest conversation, it could be a red flag. Cheaters use deflection because it buys them time. If they can convince you that you're just being insecure, they can avoid answering tough questions about their actions. So the next time you hear this, take a step back and ask yourself, are you really being insecure? Or is something bigger going on? Now, let's talk about the second phrase cheaters often use. I would never do that to you. It's designed to make you feel guilty for even questioning them. But trust me, this is a classic move. When someone says this, they're not just defending themselves. They're trying to tap into your trust and loyalty. It's a subtle guilt trip, making you feel bad for even suspecting them of something wrong. It's like they're saying, how could you even think that about me? But here's the thing. Actions speak louder than words. Just because someone says they wouldn't cheat doesn't mean they aren't capable of it. In fact, a cheater will often use this exact line to dodge responsibility. Instead of addressing your concerns, they try to make you feel like the bad guy for bringing them up. Think about it. If your partner was really being honest and faithful, they would understand your worries and have an open conversation with you. But when you hear, I would never do that to you, it's often a way to shut down the conversation before it can even start. This phrase is all about manipulating your emotions, making you doubt your own instincts. Cheaters know that guilt is a powerful tool, and they'll use it to their advantage. So if this line keeps coming up, it's important to ask yourself, why is it easier for them to guilt trip you than to explain their behavior? Before we proceed, here's an important note. Have you ever imagined sending a text message so magnetic that it sparks an irresistible desire in a woman to be with you? You might be wondering what kind of message this could be. These are secret phrases designed to awaken deep, uncontrollable emotions in any woman, making her think about you constantly, even if she has a boyfriend or only sees you as a friend. Be cautious. If you send this message, she may quickly become intensely excited and eager to see you at any cost. If you're not ready for her to fall for you, it's best not to use this message. Click the first link below to download these powerful secret messages that will make her obsess over you, eagerly anticipating your next date and dreaming about you day and night. All right, moving on to the third phrase you've probably heard before. I've just been so busy lately. Now, we all get busy sometimes, right? But when someone's using this as a constant excuse, it could mean something's going on behind the scenes. This excuse can seem harmless on the surface. We all have jobs, social lives, and other commitments that can take up our time. But when someone repeatedly uses being busy as a reason for being unavailable, dodging plans, or avoiding communication, it starts to feel less like a scheduling conflict and more like a cover-up. Let me break it down. When someone is genuinely invested in a relationship, They'll make time for you no matter how packed their schedule is. But when cheating enters the picture, being busy suddenly becomes the perfect alibi. It's an easy excuse to explain away long hours, missed texts, or unexplained absences. The busier they seem, the more they can slip away unnoticed. Of course, everyone's busy from time to time, but here's where it gets tricky. Cheaters will often exaggerate or overemphasize how busy they are as a way to avoid spending time with you or answering questions. It gives them the freedom to disappear for hours, or even days, without you questioning it too much. If you notice that being busy is becoming a recurring theme, especially when it comes to spending time together or communicating, it's time to ask yourself, are they really that swamped? Or is something else going on? Next up is a phrase that might seem sweet on the surface, but can actually be a huge red flag when used at the wrong time. You know I love you, right? Sounds innocent, right? But let's dig deeper. This is what I call the over-explanation. When someone feels cornered or suspects you're onto them, they might start piling on the affection, almost as if they're trying too hard. Instead of addressing your concerns, they hit you with an emotional statement that's designed to distract you. Now, don't get me wrong. Hearing "I love you" is great, and it's something we all want in a healthy relationship. But when it's used to avoid a real conversation, or as an excuse to dismiss your feelings, that's when it becomes a problem. It's almost like they're trying to overwhelm you with love so you'll forget what you were worried about in the first place. Cheaters often use this phrase to cover their tracks. It's meant to reassure you, but think about the timing. If you bring up something serious, like changes in behavior or missing details in their story, and they respond with "you know I love you," it's a way to shut down the conversation. It's not about solving the issue, it's about avoiding it. Here's the key. In a healthy relationship, love is backed up by actions, not just words. So if you're hearing this phrase only when things start to feel off, take a step back. Is it genuine, or is it being used to distract you from the real issue? Now, this next one is a classic. He's just a friend. We've all heard it before. But is he really just a friend, or is there more going on? Let's talk about how this phrase can be used to deflect suspicion. When someone says, "he's just a friend," they're usually trying to downplay the importance of another person in their life, especially if you've noticed them spending more time together or communicating more frequently. It's a quick way to dismiss your concerns without actually addressing them. Let's get real for a second. In a healthy relationship, transparency is key. If someone's just a friend, there's no need to get defensive or secretive. But when your partner is repeatedly hanging out with or texting someone they claim is just a friend, and they shut you down when you bring it up, that's a sign something might be off. This phrase is often used to downplay an emotional or physical connection with someone else. By labeling them as just a friend, it creates a sense of normalcy and makes you feel like you're overreacting. But pay attention to the patterns. Are they hiding their conversations? Do they seem overly protective of this friendship? If so, you might need to take a closer look. It's not just about the words, it's about the behavior behind them. If someone is genuinely just a friend, your partner should have no problem being open and honest about their relationship. But if they're getting defensive or secretive, it's a major red flag that something deeper could be going on. Last but definitely not least, let's talk about the anger flip. Why are you so paranoid? This is where things get tricky, because it's no longer about their behavior. It suddenly becomes all about you. This is a classic tactic used by cheaters to put you on the defensive. By calling you paranoid, they're not only dodging the issue, but they're making you feel like you're the one with the problem. It's a way to flip the script and avoid taking any accountability for their actions. Here's how it works. When you bring up valid